Thanks for sticking with us for this final segment of Broncos Beat. Guys, Broncos coming off a huge 31-30 win over the LA Chargers before they face the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. I have to know, was that win over the Chargers, do you guys see that being kind of that season-altering victory for this Broncos team?
For the young offense, certainly. I think you could certainly build on it because they needed this kind of win. It wasn't just a win where they scored 31 points. This was a win where they put points on the board in bunches, particularly in the fourth quarter where you had 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, and it's such a young group. I think they've always been able to rely on the defense, but now for a young offense needing to grow in confidence, it was certainly, I think, that kind of game that can give them great momentum.
I'm Mr. 2021. Cecil knows that, and I think games like this are massive for this young group. We saw them fight through, like we talked about earlier in the show, some adversity in the week between the two sides. The halftime speech from Drew Lock is a massive growing moment. But one point I want to bring out, the final play of the game, the extra point, it's where I believe it was Patrick Morris gets absolutely body slammed, and Calvin Anderson, a fellow offensive lineman, comes up and levels the Chargers player in defense. I just did the Cowboys game. Andy Dalton got his head taken off. Nobody on that team cared. This is a team that is showing that they have some fight in them, and that is a very important thing for a young team trying to establish their culture and their identity.
Well, beat the Falcons, get back to 500. We'll talk about that, but there's something larger before the Falcons game. It's called the trade deadline. The Broncos have already gotten calls for some of their players to be sellers. They're not going to be sellers. Could they, in fact, be buyers? That's how much this one victory could change for this season. Are the Broncos collecting talent and adding to their team to maybe put together a run? We'll see. I don't think they're sellers or buyers, but it's worth noting.
Well, they're heading down to hot Atlanta this weekend, you guys. We know this team has had some issues this season, but they're 2-1 under interim head coach Raheem Morris and coming off a Thursday night win over the Panthers. How is this team different under Morris?
They have a veteran quarterback in Matt Ryan who leads the league in passing yards, who aren't going to make those critical mistakes down the stretch, maybe like a Justin Herbert. They've had their struggles with being able to close out games, but it hasn't been because of Matt Ryan. Julio Jones is starting to cook. He is still a big-time player. And both of these guys, what I love about them, and I think you heard Matt Ryan talk about it when they made a change with the general manager and the head coach, and he said, hey, we're renting our lockers. He understands that tomorrow isn't promised in the National Football League, that NFL is an acronym, which means not for long. So this is a guy that still comes to work every single day, looking to earn his pay. Julio Jones is the same way. So this is a game the Denver Broncos are going to have to bring it against this group. Really good offensive unit and great, talented, skilled players.
I look at Julio Jones and go, how do you match up with him? I mean, if A.J. Boye can't come back from a concussion, is it Michael Ojemudia that's going to line up against Julio Jones? To me, that is a massive moment for a rookie to help grow as he continues to this season. But it could be a very long day for him going against one of the best to ever do it. And Solly's right. The way Matt Ryan operates an offense is going to be similar to the way they went against Tom Brady and the way they went against Ben Roethlisberger, guys that just have been in this league, are going to Canton and don't make mistakes. That's a big test as opposed to going against a rookie, will give you a couple.
Right. And they seem to be looser as well with Matt Ryan operating, as Solly points out. And I want to bring up the Hurley-Gurley man, Todd Gurley. He's not what he used to be, but is he 90% of what he used to be? Maybe. So you've got a complete team on skill positions anyway for the Falcons that you have to deal with this week.
Okay, around the horn, really quick, rapid fire, number one key to victory. Sully, let's start with you.
You got to turn over Matt Ryan. There's no doubt. I'm not saying you're going to stop Julio Jones, but you got to target the quarterback, be able to make some plays against him.
James?
Yeah, have Matt Ryan move. That's not what he's great at. Even though he had his longest rushing touchdown of his career last week, get Matt Ryan moving around. Don't let him sit on his spot.
It's easy. Hashtag feed Phil.
Yes, feed Phil. All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this week's edition of Broncos Beat. But you guys know the drill. Same time, same place next Monday for the latest edition of Broncos Beat. We'll see you then.